What's up, guys? It's Rusty with Tattlogic, and today we're going to discuss glowing, specifically how glowing works and how we achieve a glow-like effect in our artwork and our tattoos. Let's get into it. All right, so we're in Photoshop once again, and I actually did a kind of quick overview with examples of glowing, and I did a longer form demo, which is like 45 minutes. I'll make the longer form one available on Patreon if you want to go there and get it. I'll put it up for free, but I felt like it was a little bit too long for YouTube. So I'm going to do a shorter version where I'll cover all of the same information and hopefully get us to a good spot so we can start glowing it up in our work. All right, so the three basic things I want to talk about are neon, heat, and magic. So we'll start with neon. I have an example here. And basically the way that neon works is it's kind of white or really light in the middle, and then it's surrounded by a really saturated color outside of the white line. Before we start doing anything glowing, we're going to want to make sure that the background is dark. That's going to really sell the glowing effect. And same thing in your tattoos. You really want whatever the light element is, the glow in this case, you really want that to be against a darker background so it stands out more. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to darken the background and bring this nice and dark. And like I said, the middle of the line is white. So let's go ahead and draw a white line here. Just do this, neon. All right, and there are a few different ways to create kind of a glow. You can paint directly, which doesn't really have any sort of layer alterations in it. It's just the normal layer style, and that'll work for this, but I'll show you in a second why it won't work in every situation. So I'm going to make a new layer underneath this, and I'm going to go with this really saturated pink color, and you'll see we'll get kind of a neon glowing effect. And I'll keep going here, and boom, there we go. And this is great, and it's kind of a quick way to get this kind of like neon glow, but it'll only get you so far once you start adding other things into the scene. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I have a brick wall here, and let's put the neon on top of it. And let's darken the brick wall down a bit more, like so. And let me zoom in here so you can see what I'm talking about. So when you're painting on the normal layer style, it's going to block the background. So there's not going to be any sort of blending going on between what's underneath it and the paint. So the blending option, I would say, that is the most effective for creating a glowing effect is the color dodge option. So you go to your blending options over here and you go to color dodge. And now you can see that it's actually interacting with the background behind it. So in this case, the brick wall. And I'll show you before, after, before, after. So really when you're kind of creating these images, that's an option you're going to want to use to really sell the glowing effect. So let's make a new layer and go with color dodge here. And I'm just going to paint on the background to say like, hey, this neon sign is actually interacting with the background. So maybe it's like casting some light on these bricks here. Maybe there's like an overall kind of light to it. I'm just doing this really quick. Because one of the things that sells an object being light or glowing is having things in the background reacting to the light. It's really essential, especially if you want to create something that looks realistic. Okay, so you can see like if I turn that off and on, let me do it with the neon so you can kind of see that. Let's do this. All right, now it's on, now it's off. And you can kind of understand what I'm saying when it's like the light is interacting with the background. You can take this as far as you want. So let's go on to heat now. So cover neon. So with heat, they basically follow a scale, and you can see it here in this picture. Real quick, I'll just make a bounding box here, new layer. So when solid objects like rocks or metal heat up, they're usually like a dark red or dark gray color, and then they transition to like a really, really bright orange or red. And that gets to like a light orange, light yellow, and then almost white. Now remember this scale, because that is going to tell you that something is hot. The hotter it is, the closer to white it gets. And I think even if you get like even hotter and it turns into like plasma, it actually goes like blue. But for the most part, when we're working with things that are hot, fire, metal, lava, that sort of thing, it's going to follow this scale here. And the last thing is magic. I mentioned the color dodge before. When you're making things that are magical, you definitely want to look at reference, but basically you're going to be layering the color dodge on top of other color dodge layers, and it creates this kind of like super glowing fantasy element to it. So I'll show you what I mean. So I just have the Photoshop logo here, and I'll create a new layer, color dodge, and I'm just going to grab the Photoshop color and look at what's happening. So now it's like, now we just immediately have a glowing effect from the Photoshop logo. And if I were to make a new layer and like change the color a little bit and maybe put some like little like sparkle elements, we'll do color dodge again real quick. And we'll put like little like particle elements in here. Now you can see how like if we were to really like start putting all these, you know, waves and lines and crazy stuff, you could make like a really magical looking thing. But this is just a quick demo just to show you how you can start to achieve a glowing effect. I'll turn it off and on. Here it is regular, here it is glowing, and you can kind of see like where we're going with that. Lastly, I kind of wanted to show how you could use stuff like this in practice. So I just pulled this image off of Google. Let's turn her eyes into like some magical glowing stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'll work on this real quick. I'll do like a time lapse, but basically all I'm doing is what we talked about. So I'm gonna use the color dodge layer, and I'm going to make it so the environment, in this case her face, is reacting to the light that's going to be coming from her eyes. All right, so you can kind of see here how you can get this magic like glowing effect pretty easily. It didn't take me too long to do that, maybe 10 minutes. And like I said, I'm just using a combination of the color dodge layer as well as normal layers to kind of get this like lightning effect. You can do this in stylized work as well. Basically what you're going to want to do is study reference, similar to like the metal or the neon signs, things like that. Study reference that you like, and then find out what rules are taking place, like the scale in the like the heat scale, for example, when it's getting like more orange and red as it gets cooler, and then you just apply that throughout your piece. So in areas where you think in the piece it's cooler, it'll be that more darker red, and as it gets warmer it gets yellow or white, and you'll see that kind of heat-like effect. I hope this has been really helpful for you. If you have any questions or anything, please leave them in the comments below. I'll take a look. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching. All right, bye-bye.